Hello! Oh god, a controversial video coming up today. We're going to be going over the most overrated players in the Premier League. We have a decent amount of matches played to get somewhat of an idea of players that have not lived up to the hype. Just to clarify, I recognize that all these players are amazing. They're doing more than me in life right now. They're balling out if they're playing for one of the best leagues in the world. This isn't hate to any of them. A lot of these players I'm also mentioning have done a lot with their careers so far. This is just my opinion of the most overrated player from every club in 2021. Also, before we get into this list, please recognize that a lot of these clubs are pretty underrated. Like, who could I possibly choose from Brentford? I'm still gonna have a player from every team, but I think before each club mentioned, I gotta clarify how hard of a decision it was to make, because some of them weren't easy at all. With all that being said, I know there's gonna be people that are skipping this intro and still take this to heart, but I'm giving my warning anyway. So the first club we're taking a look at is...
My scores ain't loaded.
Well, have you tried OneFootball?
No.
OneFootball is an amazing app which keeps you up to date with all of the latest football news. Instead of having to Google search everything over and over again, everything is right there on the app, easy to access and view. For nearly every league, you can check out the schedule, the current standings, the latest news, and you can even select your favorite team you wish to receive extra notifications for. You can even check out the stats of every player in each competition, which can help you make changes to your fantasy team and all that. Guys, I highly recommend you get this app. It's free, easy to use. You might as well go check it out now. I'll leave a link in the description below.
Shut up!
Alright, usually I'd go alphabetical order, but I'm going to do it in reverse this time. So starting off with Wolves. This one was a medium difficulty to choose somebody in. I've gone for Adama Traore. He's obviously a baller and a unique one. Not only is he buff, he's so quick, but he's not the most clinical finisher for Wolverhampton's forward options. So far in this Premier League run, as of today, which is October 26, he's taken 4 shots, and 3 of them were big chances missed. He obviously had a great season a few years ago where his name got out there. Decent amount of rumors for him transferring to other clubs, but he's stuck at Wolves, and I think he's one of the most talked about players on the club that doesn't always deliver. Next up, we're going for West Ham. Now, unfortunately, this was a somewhat easy decision to make. I hope this changes. I genuinely hope this guy starts producing more, but I've gone for their newly signed player, Vlasic. I was obviously hyped when West Ham signed this guy, but in all honesty, he's just been a bit disappointing lately. He hasn't made enough contribution. West Ham still have options in his position that are doing all right. He's not proving himself enough to be a consistent starter. After transferring from CSKA Moscow, being one of the top players in the Russian league, I was expecting more from this guy. I guess it's taking him a bit of an adjustment to get used to the Premier League, and I genuinely hope he improves. But West Ham have been such a unit recently, and I think he's just the one player that hasn't lived up to the hype yet. Now for Watford, this club was close to impossible to choose somebody, especially after their win recently against Everton 5-2. With this being a close to impossible choice, I've gone for Sissoko, just because he's a pretty well-known player. Transfer from Tottenham. Now he's already the captain for Watford. He's not even necessarily doing terribly. It's just hard to pick anyone else. If you got someone else in mind, feel free to let me know in the comments. Now for Tottenham. The hype definitely died down for this guy, but people still know him pretty well. I've gone for Dele Alli. He had a chance to take the starting 11 role in the center attacking mid spot for England or center mid, and now there's so many youngsters filling that role. Mason Mount, Phil Foden. He has his moments, but not always the most consistent player. People's expectations from him are obviously a lot lower now than they once were, but I definitely think he still fills in the most overrated spot, considering the career he could have potentially had. There's obviously not a lot of players I could think of for Tottenham. I think most of them are decently rated. Now for Southampton, I've gone for Che Adams. Whenever I see this guy play, he has amazing positioning, but just cannot seem to score very much. When he does, it's big obviously, but just not enough from this guy sometimes. Only has 6 appearances so far, hasn't scored yet. I'm putting this guy as the most overrated player because I was expecting a lot more from him, to be honest. He's very exciting to watch. I just think he needs to work on his finishing, and then he can be properly rated as a solid striker in the Premier League. Speaking of Southampton though, the youngster from Albania, Broja, has been in brilliant form. He's popped up as a sub 5 times and already scored 2 goals. But yeah, best of luck to Che Adams. I do hope he gets more clinical in front of goal. Now for an easier decision though, for Norwich. There were 2 players I had a lot of expectations for actually this year, and neither of them are delivering so far. Both coming in from the Bundesliga, we got the American Sargent and Kosovo player Rashica. Both these guys have missed huge chances so far for Norwich, and Norwich really haven't been doing well. They just got smashed by Chelsea 7-0. Yes, it's Chelsea. Yes, it's Norwich. But these two options were giving me more hope for this side. I thought they'd at least be putting better fights than this. Both these guys play for Werder Bremen, who got relegated, so I guess they both got a solid transfer to the Premier League, with a side that's most likely going to be relegated at this point. Who knows, they could bounce back. But if I gotta choose one, I guess I'll go with Sargent, but Rashica's not too far off from him. Now for mighty Newcastle. I've gone for Ryan Fraser. This guy doesn't start that much for Newcastle, I know, but he used to be so solid for Bournemouth when he was on there. Ever since he transferred to Newcastle, he has not been producing. It's just the truth. Although Newcastle haven't gotten a win yet in the Premier League, they still put up decent fights a lot of the time, and I think a lot of their players are fairly rated. So yeah, I gotta give it to Fraser on this one. Now for Manchester United, I gotta go for Harry Maguire. Look, this guy has his moments, but a lot of the times he's just a bit inconsistent. I don't think his price tag at 80 million is justifying his performances. He could improve later this season. It's easy to point fingers now after they just lost to Liverpool 5-0. But yeah, the United defense was dreadful. Luke Shaw also not on his A game. Maguire obviously had a terrific Euro run, but a lot of the times for Manchester United, he just can be all over the place. I feel like with the timing of uploading this video, everyone's going to have their opinion on Manchester United since they just got smashed by Liverpool. So let me know your thoughts if Maguire was the right choice or not. But now moving on to Manchester City, I have gone for Jack Grealish. I know that this choice could totally change later on, but as of now, he is not the most electric player on the pitch, and I know a lot more people are expecting more from him after that £100 million transfer. But he's talked about a lot, and compared to the other Manchester City players, I just don't think he's producing as much. Most of the time, Manchester City are such a great side though, so this wasn't the easiest choice to make, but it was pretty straightforward who to pick. Now for Liverpool, this is a hard decision. People have a lot of opinions on this side, but whatever you say right now, they are doing wonders right now, haven't lost yet in the Premier League. A lot of people talk about Henderson being overrated, but in my opinion, there's no denying that he's an incredible leader for the team. He serves his role well, and he's still a solid player. Firmino gets the occasional mention as well, although he's just absolutely brilliant in some matches. And then Thiago, who was incredible for Bayern Munich, hasn't always found his form for Liverpool. It's a tough one, but I'm going to pick Salah. I'm kidding. I don't like doing this guy dirty because I think he's solid, but if I had to choose one, I will pick Henderson. Hard decision, honestly. Liverpool have just been too great recently to classify somebody as overrated. Now for Leicester City, this club is close to impossible for picking somebody. I think all their players are rightfully rated. Jamie Vardy in terrific form. Their other forwards do the job. Daka scoring 4 goals in the Europa League the other day. I think it's either got to be Harvey Barnes or James Maddison, but they've both still been brilliant. I'm just going to go with James Maddison for now, but I know he can start being in form out of nowhere, and it's not a choice I'm comfortable making. Now for Leeds, I think there's 2 possible choices for this. We can either choose Daniel James or Rodrigo. Rodrigo necessarily hasn't been bad, but I thought he'd be a bit better after transferring from Valencia. Daniel James, respect to this guy for leaving Manchester United. He knew he had to change up his club to save his career, get some playing time, but he just hasn't been producing so far for Leeds. I feel like it's a bit unfair to give it to James. I'm going to give it to Rodrigo. I just thought he'd be a more crucial goal scorer for the side, but last season, Brentford scored way more than him. Now for Everton. We got to pick a defender here, surely, especially after that Watford result. I'm going to go with Digne, the French lad. Now for Crystal Palace. This side has drawn in their last 4 Premier League fixtures. To be honest, there's a lot of exciting players in the squad right now. It's a tough one to choose, but if I got to choose one, I'm giving it to Jordan Ayew. This guy used to be very solid, but last season and currently this season, he hasn't been producing that much, and he's still starting in a lot of the matches. I thought Mateta would be a more exciting signing, to be honest. They're still relying on Ayew more than him, but yeah, it's a tough decision as this side's a pretty underrated one. Now for Chelsea. Honestly, I think this is an easy decision, and I could get some hate for this, but I got my own opinion here. I gotta give it to Jorginho. This guy's brilliant, don't get me wrong. But the fact that he won the UEFA Men's Player of the Year for winning the Champions League and the Euros, look, he did have a terrific year, but I do not think he's either Chelsea's best player or Italy's best player. To me, he's rated too highly. People are gonna say I'm biased for this, but look at Kovacic. He's been brilliant this season with already 5 assists, the second most in the Premier League so far. I know Chelsea make good use out of the Italian, but mainly the fact that he's won this award and he's also being considered for the Ballon d'Or. A bit too much for me. Sorry. Now for Burnley. Very hard decision here. I don't think many of these players are overrated, to be honest. I'm giving it to the Czech man Vidra solely for the purpose that he's the most underwhelming forward right now for the side. Burnley, to be honest, have a lot of players that are underrated in my opinion, so a very tough one, but let's just move on. 2. Brighton. Now, Brighton have been in very terrific form so far, but I guess this was a somewhat easy decision because he's fairly well known before his time at Liverpool and Southampton. Just hasn't been the most standout midfielder for the side. Still a great player though. I've gone with Lallana. Yes, he's getting older, but his numbers were way better when he was the Liverpool starter and when he was playing for Southampton. He's had his moments for Brighton, but he has not been the same player. Now for Brentford. This was impossible to choose, okay? I know I've said many times that a lot of these clubs were hard decisions, but Brentford, impossible. This side just got promoted to the Premier League. They're doing pretty decently after a lot of people predicted that they would just get relegated, but all their matches have been good fights. I'm just going to choose Onyeka for this. He's the one player we're going to choose because I guess he's more well-known and not necessarily a standout yet. But even saying that, very underrated player. Okay, let's just move on. Now for another tough decision here. Aston Villa, I've gone for Ollie Watkins. Pretty sure I said this guy was underrated in the past. This guy definitely just randomly pops off with scoring a lot of goals in some matches, but as of now, hasn't been producing enough. Aston Villa are a very underrated side overall in the Premier League. They got a lot of players who, in my opinion, don't get enough recognition, their goalkeeper being one of them. They also just recently got Danny Ings, who I think is severely underrated. But yeah, I was expecting Ollie Watkins would have an incredible match. He's only scored 1 goal so far this season. Meanwhile, last season, at this point, he was scoring hat-tricks against Liverpool. Still a brilliant player. Getting a bit unlucky, I think. But he's just the choice I gotta go with if I gotta pick one player. Now for Arsenal. I think there's a clear winner of choices for the attack and the defense though. For the attack, I'd probably go with Pepe because of his price tag and the fact that he has not necessarily been at his best since joining Arsenal. And then for the defense, Ben White is a solid choice. You know what? I'm going to give it to Ben White just because I feel like he still has a lot more to improve on. Price tag pretty high. Pretty sure he made it to the England national team for the Euros, and I think there were other center backs that could have taken his spot. So that's why I'm choosing him. But I am aware that he can definitely improve as the season goes on. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my most overrated player from every club in the Premier League. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below who you think is the most overrated player from each club. Any agreements or disagreements you have with me. Love to hear what you guys think. Thank you all for making it to the end. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all next time. Boa noite.